What's up guys, Tar Heel Swim here, and today I'll be taking an in-depth look at the new Nightstalker subclass coming in the Taken King. Getting right into it, we start in the first column with the grenades. The first is the spike grenade that we currently see on the Defender Titan. It sticks to walls and emits a purple beam that damages enemies who stand inside of it. It's useful for locking down control points or other objectives, but enemies can easily destroy it by shooting at it. The second grenade is brand new to Destiny, called the Void Wall Grenade. If you're looking for a grenade that will be useful for objective game types, this is it. It could light up a control point, block a pathway or a doorway, or in a game of Rift you could force enemies to have to walk straight through it in order to advance the spark. What makes this grenade better for strategic gameplay than say a lightning grenade or a trip mine is that it can't be destroyed. Once you throw it down, the wall of void light will burn until it times out. The last grenade is the Vortex Grenade, which is borrowed from the Voidwalker and simply creates a small vortex that will continually damage enemies that are trapped inside. In the second column we have the double jump abilities, and these are exactly the same as the Gunslinger subclass, including extra height, better control, and triple jump. In the third column we have the modifiers to the Nightstalker Super called Shadow Shot. Shadow Shot allows you to shoot a void bow and arrow that creates an anchor and tethers enemies to it, slowing and weakening them. The first perk is Bloodbound, which causes tethered enemies to explode when killed, but more importantly, it causes damage to tethered enemies to be shared amongst all of them. What really gives this perk an edge is that the damage is not split between the tethered enemies, but rather all enemies that are tethered receive the full damage. This is undoubtedly the best perk to choose for PvE, and it could also prove to be useful in PvP in game types like Control, where enemies are commonly grouped together. The next perk is Black Hole, which gives the Void Anchor increased range, makes it last longer, and lets it tether more enemies. This could definitely be useful in PvE for larger groups of enemies, but I think it'll be outclassed by Bloodbound. The third perk is Quiver, which allows you to fire 3 arrows instead of 1, which really lends itself to PvP. This will likely be my go-to perk for PvP to ensure that I can get a solid 3 kills each time I use my super, similar to Golden Gun. The next column of perks normally relates to the melee ability, but for the Nightstalker, this column is devoted to the ability to throw smoke to slow and disorient enemies trapped inside the cloud. The Nightstalker can still slash normally like the other Hunter subclasses, but when your melee ability is charged, you'll also have the ability to throw smoke. The first perk for smoke is Envenomed, which simply adds a toxin to the smoke so that it also damages enemies trapped inside the cloud. This could be useful in PvP since enemies will already be slowed and disoriented from being inside the smoke, so that might make it difficult to get out of it before the toxin kills you. In PvE, it could almost be like having another grenade. The second perk is Vanish in Smoke, which causes you and your allies to vanish from sight when you're near a smoke cloud. I could see this being extremely useful in both PvP and PvE depending on what it means when it says you vanish from sight. If it makes you invisible in the same way that Blade Dancers go invisible, then this will be more of a PvE perk. But if you truly do vanish from sight completely, then this could be extremely useful to throw down on a control point or at a popular sniper spot to give your team the jump on the enemy in the Crucible. The third perk is Snare, which allows you to stick the smoke to a surface and it will detonate when an enemy walks by. I think this will be more useful in PvP than PvE, and it plays into the objective or support focused role that is evident thus far in the Nightstalker subclass. In the next column we just have our usual base stat modifiers. The next column starts with Courage of the Pack. This perk gives you and nearby allies increased armor and recovery whenever a tethered target is killed. It can also stack up to 5 times, making this a powerful PvE perk when it will be easy to tether multiple enemies together. Using this perk in conjunction with Black Hole will basically guarantee that you get the 5 times stack from every super in PvE. The second perk in this column is Light of the Pack, which simply creates orbs whenever you kill tethered targets. The third perk is Lockdown, which makes all grenade and smoke effects last twice as long. This perk seems really powerful in both PvE and PvP, really allowing you to stem enemy advances in PvE to give yourself some breathing room, as well as having even more control over objectives and high traffic areas in PvP. In the next column we have additional base stat modifiers. The final column starts with Keen Scout, allowing you to sprint and sneak faster, gain an enhanced radar, and the ability to mark all targets you damage. This is an interesting perk since it provides so many benefits, but they seem disconnected, which leads me to believe that this perk will be outclassed by the other two in this column. The second perk is Predator, which allows the Void Anchors from Shadow Shot to stick to surfaces and wait for targets to walk near it to become trapped. I see this being a very powerful PvP perk that could be used to totally shut down high traffic areas, further lending the Nightstalker to a support role in PvP. Combine this with Black Hole and Courage of the Pack and you can control an area for a significant amount of time while also buffing yourself and nearby teammates. Choose Quiver instead of Black Hole and you can shut off an entire section of a map. The third perk in this column is Shade Step. This works by double tapping crouch to momentarily disappear while you perform a dodge roll in any direction. We'll have to wait and see how effective the dodge roll is in practice, but using it well and at the right time could turn the tide in your favor during an intense PvP encounter, and it also just looks super cool. Overall, from the Shade Step to the Smoke to the strong area control, the Nightstalker is a very unique subclass, and personally this is the first class that I'll be playing when the Taken King drops on September 15th. Let us know down in the comments which subclass you're most excited to play. If you're interested in seeing breakdowns of the other two subclasses, be sure to check out the links in the description and subscribe to see plenty more content on the Taken King in the coming weeks. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.